Okay. So I'll start by telling us about Dukia Gold, and that's for the purpose of the people who are joining us for the first time. Dukia Gold is a full-service bullion merchant, a refinery, and a market maker and liquidity provider. We trade in gold products, which is investment gold product. We have partners, and so we are able to provide vaulting services for gold and other precious metals. We render value chain activities from mines to mines, and this includes assembling right of way and critical infrastructure that are required the value chain. We responsibly source our gold and precious metals in compliance with the World Gold Council and in line with the Ministry Mines and okay, so that's Ministry of Solid Mineral Development guidelines and the OECD and London Bullion Markets Association due diligence guidelines. So I'll take you through the gold value chain, which we call from mines to markets. And what we've done at Dukia Gold is we play in several parts of this and in others we have partners who provide this. And so we start with exploration. So that's where gold value chain starts from. And that involves looking for the minerals using different tools, services, competence to access sites and then discover what lies therein. And you also use plant machinery and equipment for this. And so you have players in this sector also who provide the equipment either by selling or renting or leasing them out. So you have the buyer who actually does the active discovery of the minerals that lie beneath or above the soil. And you also have recycled gold. So by this, it's not all gold that is that all gold that are traded, that are mined. Some have been mined in the past and are already above and processed. So, but they still get reintroduced into the value chain for different reasons as recycled gold and reprocessed to be sold as ornaments, precious metals, investment bars, and coins. So we have Dukia Gold Refinery licensed to process precious metals and refine it to, which is beneficiation to a very good level. We are aiming to be able to do up to 99.99%. And so that's to do this, we have partners who are supporting us and holding our hands towards achievement of this. So we have the vault, and that's when the gold is refined. You have the vault service providers that are the custodian and keep them. And we have what you call the keeping them in the in a safe custody and making sure that a secure chain is maintained and that it's also vaulted in line with the LBMA guidelines. And so you want to ensure that the gold within a value chain and secure chain. that make sure that at all times it is compliant. We have the platform which is on the Dukia fresh metal can actually stay on the sea or from the convenience of your house, your office, your car, and from your devices. You can buy gold, and that is gold that will be allocated in your name and owned by you. So you also have the secret and you have the secure.
Boss, I think you're muted while you're talking.
Sorry, I was logged. Sorry, there was a network issue. Okay, and okay, sorry about that. So you have the secure transportation. I think that was what I was talking about before, and corporate investors that include individuals and corporates, and like the fund managers. You have the companies that are into event, or so we have series of people that play in this aspect, in this area, and that's applicable to everybody. It's open, everyone can invest in the gold value chain, whether you're investing in the exploration, the PME, the mining aspect, or investments in the gold itself as an compliant gold, which is what we trade at Dukia Gold. So as I earlier mentioned, we have an e-commerce trading platform that allows every Nigerian, whether home or abroad, to trade from the comfort of their home devices. And the site is digital trading platform, which is a solution that we know is required, is destructive, but that's what is required at this time. And we've tried and tested it. We have a lot of people, institutions, individuals that have taking up this and actively investing in gold. And I'm sure that there will be a session where we would have some of them also come, not today, and talk about their gold investment story, which has been positive. Um, so by doing all this, Dukia is pioneering the convergence of fintech and precious metals. Dukia Gold aims to unlock the nation's abundant gold resources by digitizing the entire value chain. The initiative, transparency, efficiency, and exploration to trading and investment in gold. And what we're trying to do is to bring and improve on what is even happening outside the country, and to make sure that Nigerians are able to participate. Recently, government has focused on the solid mineral sector, and very soon, Dukia and even some others will be producing volumes that will be commercial. And we believe that this is positioning um, Nigerians to be able to take full benefit of the positive changes that we expect to happen in the industry in the shortest possible time, so that we don't have it that, yes, we are mining gold, we are producing precious metals and other minerals, because this platform can also handle other minerals, and Nigerians are unable to take active participation and take full value of what can happen. There's so many things that gold can do, and I believe they will be mentioned during the course of this session. And so the agenda for today will be the opening remarks, which have been taken, and the year 2023. There will be general remarks on the performance of gold in the year 2023, and presentation on global local effects of investment in gold. And on this note, I'll call just some remarks on the performance of gold. Thank you, everyone. Paul, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Paul Beasley here. We haven't really had an awful lot of time in 2023 in terms of gold to sort of make any significant comments. But there are several points that I would make about the performance of gold, particularly since September 2022, when we struck a major, I believe we struck a major bottom in the gold price. So we're now looking well above 2,000. It has been a little higher than now, and we have seen record highs on the London gold fixing in dollar terms. But I think when we're looking at the metal, we also need to look at it in local currency terms. So in sterling, in euros, we've seen highs over the last year, and gold is still performing well in other major currencies. Look at against the yen as well. So say, for instance, the yen, it's a really good example of how gold performs when you've got a weakening currency. So the yen has hit multi record highs in gold terms over the last 6 months. And these things I don't think they're not going to change. Currencies worldwide are tending weaker, particularly against the dollar, and we then have to look at potential dollar performance over the coming certainly until the end of this year, when we have when, as we all know, we've got an election coming up in the US, and a potential return to the office of Mr. Trump. Now that can signal an awful lot of things in the gold market. Mr. Trump, I think is a doer of deals. So, and I think he's quite likely to do deals in certain areas, and it could be, what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, and these sort of geopolitical hotspots. So I would be very cautious, and from a personal perspective, I don't think I would be risk on at that time. And when I say risk on, I would be talking in the equity markets. Now, in local terms, I mean, obviously you've seen a tremendous devaluation officially in the naira over the last week, though it's come in line more with the alternative market rate, which you can pretty much pick up on if you look at something like the Tether Nigerian naira rate. It's always a very good indication of where things are and where things are going to go. But undoubtedly, over the last week, or well, certainly over the last 6 months, if you'd been invested gold in naira terms, you would be very, very happy indeed. The returns have been absolutely phenomenal. Of course, you can look at that and say, well, if I'd done exactly the same in dollars, yes, he would have done as well. But in dollar terms, if we look at historic trend, gold since I think 1971 has shown a compound rise of 9% I believe 9% per annum. I have to check my figures. Don't quote me on that, but it's certainly a very good return. So you're not just looking at the dollar, you're looking at gold in dollar and gold in naira. So these are very important things to look at. In terms of portfolio as well, you have to, looking at balancing a portfolio of stocks, shares, bonds, etc. We saw 2022, 2023, the sort of 60-40 rule on stocks and bonds really didn't work. The correlation between stocks and bonds went up, but if you'd have been invested in gold, the correlation would have gone down. The correlation with gold and stocks and bonds would actually have dropped. So you would certainly have helped to balance out a portfolio that was heavily invested in stocks and bonds. So I've talked about the returns a little earlier, but back in 2023, when I last looked at it, in naira terms, you were getting a 4,770% return over a 22-year period. Now that figure has undoubtedly risen by a much more significant value since when you look at particularly the official rate, which has moved quite phenomenally. The other area that I would always look at when looking at markets is the liquidity. Gold has got very, very good liquidity when compared to even some of the large currency transactions, i.e., when you get to dollar, euro, dollar, yen, etc. The liquidity and amount traded in gold is actually quite enormous if you look at it on a daily transactional basis. So if you have bought gold, you can get out of it very, very quickly. It's not something where the door is going to be closed, which can happen with certain other investments like ETFs, property is another one. There's been a lot of property trusts, particularly in the UK, that have just shut their doors. People can't sell because the property market is highly illiquid. So I would seriously give consideration to gold in that sense as well, to give yourself the chance to get out of an investment should you need to, at a real rate of knots. So, I mean, that's pretty much it from me today. Obviously, I know we're going to have a question and answer session a little later, but I'll hold on for then and pass you over to Mr. Fagbemi now, who I'm sure is going to be who I'm sure is going to have quite a lot to talk about around the Nigerian economy and the precious metal space from mines to market. So thank you all very much for listening, and I will just show you that I'm respectably dressed, sitting in my office, and I'll pass you over to Tunde. Thanks all very much for listening. Mr. Fagbemi, over to you, I think. Sorry, I'm not hearing anything if you're saying anything.
Sorry, Mr. Fagbemi um, will continue or will take his session shortly. And while we're doing that, or waiting for him to join, I'll just continue. Um, and so this is just to show us what Nigeria's top 10 exports in 2022 looked like. So we had the mineral falls, which we all know that is our mainstay, which government is trying, or which we all know we need to diversify from. And solid mineral is one of the areas that government is looking at for this alternative revenues. So we have fertilizers responsible for 3%, and ships, boats, about 1.2%. Cocoa was 1.1%, oil seeds 0.6, aluminium 0.4, fruit nuts 0.4%. We have gems, precious metals was just $150 million, which was about 0.2%, and coal 0.2, copper another 0.2%. Nigeria exports are highly concentrated, which is oil. accounts for the major part of it. And this in itself, if we look at it, more of it is exported. And the main state for Nigeria, which richest countries in the world. And what we're saying is that can happen in Nigeria. And that's what they do is more from just even processing of. Sorry, that was a network issue again. So what we have is gems and precious metals, the fastest grower. Among the top 10 potentially the sector, we would soon have um, see the benefit of the diversification and what metals can do to the economy and the sorry, I'll put off the video, maybe it will be clearer. So sorry about this. Yeah. Okay, so what is gold? And for us, gold is the purity is 99%, which is investment grade. Look at what gold means to different sectors, biggest application of Sorry, I hope it's not stable. I was changing to another source. Okay. Sorry. So we have the bars, which is the investment grade, and bars and coins representing about 21%. And we have central banks and other institutions that invest in gold. They hold about 14% of the global gold consumption. And we have for medals and coins, and that accounts for about 10%. And we have the electrical and electronics responsible for 7%, which is we find them in even our mobile phones and other gadgets that use gold for as part of chips that are used in those devices. So looking at what gold can do for us, gold can help us with diversification of revenues. It can bring foreign exchange earnings to Nigeria. And because we have gold, it's estimated that we have about 200 ounces, a million ounces in reserves, which are still largely untapped. If this is mined or we begin to mine, we can actually have gold as a very major source of foreign exchange, and that would be a material game changer for Nigeria as a country, and of course for us as individuals that are in that are in the country, because we all know what this foreign exchange means right now. It's not just for the big people. It goes up to the food, the water, and everything that we buy. Everything is linked to it now. You get to the market, everybody says it's gone up. So what you bought yesterday, and we see it as a way of um, changing things around for the country and us as individuals and as corporates also. So of course, we know gold can bring about economic development through job creation, and it can help to attract foreign investment and edge against inflation. This gold is known to be a very, very good hedge against inflation, and that has continued to hold true. So it would also help promote the financial markets. So looking at gold performance, Paul mentioned how beneficial it's been to hold gold or to invest in gold. And two things or two major things have been responsible: the change, the favorable movement in the price of gold itself, and also um, the fact that the naira has been depreciating. And so if you're talking about how could you have maintained value of how could you have secured the value of your funds, gold was should have been the way to do it, and it's still the way to go about it, because every day we still continue to see the devaluation. And so if you're talking about what 100,000 meant to you beginning of last year and what it is today, we would know that we would have had over 20% in depreciation of the value. And in terms of FX, I think we would be talking about a doubling of the value. So if all we did was bought 100,000 naira worth of gold beginning of last year, just by the factor of the moving FX or depreciation in the value of Naira, you would have double that value in Naira because it's dollar based, so your asset is secured and tied to the dollar, and you would always have that value. And as Paul mentioned, the average price of gold continues to be in the upward direction. You can have temporary fall in the price, but it always goes back up. And this is also another example of what has happened to the price of gold. It peaked in December, on 3rd of December 2023 at $2,146.79 per ounce. And it was an all-time high for year 2023. And at the beginning of the year, gold was 1,823.69. So this shows that there was appreciation in the price of gold, and the other level as Nigerians, as holders of Naira, there is also the benefit that you tied up your funds in dollars, which makes you, provides you with a security of protection against the depreciation in our currency. So this is the trend also, January 23 to January 29. And we can see that there were some ups and downs, but averagely, it did better than it started the year, which is what always happens with gold. You cannot have any, from the past or from history, it's never a very horrible drop that doesn't rise again. And so it's a source of, is a long-term investment. And as we say every time, you can buy gold today and sell today. You are going to lose money. So you need, because there's a bid and the ask price. And so just like you cannot buy dollar today and sell it today, you would lose. That is also applicable to gold. So this is just a simple arithmetic of a direct computation of what inflation has done to the Naira. So if you're holding, if you had 100K in January and in May, the inflation rate was 22.41. That's what you're looking at in terms of the value. You're actually holding about 77,000 Naira. And if you held gold, you would have been better off holding gold. And this just a chart showing what kind of exchange rates, oh no, sorry, interest rates you can get by putting your funds in savings accounts in Nigeria. And some of these are very generous because they're just, you may not get it. It's not, to get some of these rates, you need to have huge sums of money deposited in the bank. But for the trading platform that we operate, investment even starts from as low as 5,000 Naira, because you can hold your gold as pool allocated gold owned by you, and you continue to invest and build up on your holdings. So this is just a comparison to what gold can do. And if you just kept your money, in addition, or to be deducted from this would be the inflation rates. You would need to take that off and also look at what depreciation has happened to the Naira. and then you can decide and know that yes, you can be counting nairas, but what is the true value of the naira that you are able to hold or that you're holding? And so this is the case for gold, and it is recommended that you can that in your portfolio. So we're not saying everything should be held in gold, yeah, but the recommended portion is about 20% of your investment portfolio can be held as gold. So I will stop here, and I will hand over to Mr. Tunde Fagbemi, who will be delivering the last paper or the presentation, and then we'll have the question and answers after. Thank you, everyone, for your patience and for listening to. Thank you.
Once again, for us is Happy New Year and welcome to all our customers, patrons, investors, and in fact, the Nigerian public. Many times in the last 2 years, Dukia Gold has made it a point of duty to basically run an investment educational series. We call it an IEC program. It's called Inform, Educate, Communicate. And this, again, is the kickoff for the IEC program for the year 2024. 2023 was quite turbulent. The Nigerian government, of course, is trying its level-headed best. And I have a series of questions I'm going to ask for everyone to basically try and type a question and answer to. Some of the questions are open-ended, and because it's an open-ended question and answer session, it's imperative that the question and answer be typed out on the screen. And once it's typed out on the screen, please, all of you who are with us, please be kind enough to respond to it. In responding to it, I would also beg you to be as fair to us as possible. I'll say the following. Do you think President Tinubu inherited a weak economy, which is, to all intent and purposes, comatose and needs a major overhaul? If you agree, in your little section of your communication, please just type yes or no. Do you believe that this government has reviewed the intended and unintended consequences of the economic reform or the economic agenda being pursued by Tinubu? And do you think they put you in perspective when they were fashioning out this economic reform that they're doing? The third question is, do you believe that the current economic policy trajectory is clearly positive, realistic, and sustainable? Again, just answer yes or no. And if you have any other thing to add, please put it in the comment section. Your response will be critical for us at Dukia Gold because it gives us a true measure of how you as clients are thinking and what we think you would do if you had a chance to run your own economy your own way. And the last set of questions, do you believe that the comprehensive fiscal and tax policy reform embarked by this government will drive speedy recovery and spur economic growth of Nigeria and the average Nigerian citizen or business enterprise? Again, how is this many good things they are doing? How is it affecting you? Lastly, do you believe that all tiers of government and the people of Nigeria are committed to and have a clear understanding of what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is doing? And do you understand the enormity of the seriousness of work of nation building that is set in place by them and that you yourself need to add value to? Then they always say security is a collective responsibility, but do you know what it is that you are responsible for and which aspect of it you are actually responsible for? What can you do by your own hands to improve security, and what can you do to boost and encourage the Nigerian economy and people. Having said all of that, I would go quickly to the slides that have been prepared. I apologize, I will take only 15 minutes because we intended this 1 hour, but we had some small challenge before I came. My job is to try to shine some perspective on the global and local impact of gold on the Nigerian economy and the investing public. Nigeria is a large country, 223 million people, the largest economy as it were. And because it's a large economy, we need to understand that making an elephant walk takes a long time in principle, and because you need to wake up an economy of this size, we have to be very careful. So what is it that we're doing? We brought together a team of 3 to make a presentation to you today. That team of 3 basically works across the divide to make sure that we can deliver service to you. And in delivering service to you, Paul, I want to thank you for your insight. MD, I also need to thank you very much for your kind insight. Having listened to the 2 of you before me, I think most of my work is done. But I would again say to you, 80% of what we say to you are not intended for you to act. They're only intended for you to be informed, educated. And please, if you need to take a financial decision, don't always forget to consult your accountant or financial advisor. They are more competent in providing you advice. If you're also going to enter into a contract, the best person always to talk to is a proper lawyer, not a doctor or an accountant. They all do different jobs. So we need to repeat that there is a safe harbor statement in this place, and that everyone should try and avail themselves of what a safe harbor is. It's been repeated to you, Dukia Gold is a bullion merchant. We are in the mines to market ecosystem. We own mine sites that, again, will soon come to you by way of private placement to invest in. We also own, right now, a precious metals exchange, which basically is an e-commerce trading platform that allows you to buy and sell gold, basically on a private treaty basis. And that, again, is available to you. If you Google www.dukiapreciousmetals.co, I'm certain that you will land on the e-commerce trading platform, and you'll be able to buy from 1 gram of gold to at least or less than 1 kg of gold, or up to 1 kg of gold. Again, that entity started as an incubator. We've done a lot of good work on it as an SBU. Very soon, by way of a private placement, you may be able to actually own part and parcel of that entity. So we're happy to say to you today, we know what it is to buy and sell gold, and we think that those who did that last year with us had an average return of between 50 and 183% on their investment. The MD has been kind enough to show you what happened. If you came in at 465 Naira to the dollar, gold was about $1,800. If by the end of the year you looked at your figure, the Naira was again trading at about 1,250 to 1,450. And gold by that time had moved to $2,000 approximately. So if you looked at the double effect of the devaluation of the Nigerian currency and the fact that gold in itself appreciated in price, the kind of return that we witnessed is far better than any return you would have had if you kept your money in a bank and received interest, or if you kept your money in an equity and tried to receive dividend and capital appreciation, or you actually bought a bond or a commercial paper in a fixed interest situation. Gold, basically, to me, returned in excess of 79% for any active trader. And for a very patient trader, they actually returned in excess of 150 to 180% for the year. We believe that that trajectory will continue this year. And that's one of the reasons why we think we should talk to you in detail about what the future of gold is and what the future of the Nigerian economy will look like when everything finally pans out and we see the true effect of the Nigerian fiscal as well as tax reforms, and we also see the essence of what their monetary policies will be. We wait earnestly for the meeting of the CBN in February, and please watch out early in March again. We're going to have another one of these IEC programs, basically to further educate you on the effect of what we think is going to happen based on the trajectory that the central bank wants to take this country. Having said that, we need to repeat the fact that we are a company that believes in value addition to the gold value chain. So every money you put with us as an investment actually ends up in a village where somebody is mining gold and where the citizens of that village can actually contribute to the Nigerian economy directly. We basically are happy because we have assembled the right of way. We are assembling, along with several state governments now, critical infrastructure to ensure that the gold value chain truly prospers the Nigerian economy and makes the Nigerian economy to grow in leaps and bounds. We will continue to source our precious metals in compliance with the World Gold Council, the Ministry of Mines, the OECD, and the London Bullion Market Association, especially as regards to due diligence. The reason being that we are quite aware that when you invest with us, you are investing in a gold that is of investment grade and not a numismatic or a raw type of gold, and you should be able to receive maximum value if and when you choose to get out and cash out. Again, the MD has taken us through this. I won't waste your time. What we say to you is that we are into exploration as well as into safe delivery of a finished product, having taken it to our refinery. And therefore, we are one of the rare companies in Nigeria that can truly say to you, we take raw material and we add the maximum value to it and deliver it to you. The other thing I want you to remember is that every Nigerian through us is offered a unique opportunity to own and invest in the solid mineral industry with the minimum amount of risk. I wish Nigeria had been allowed to invest in 1 barrel of oil or 2 barrels of oil. The only time Nigeria buys oil as an individual is when you want to go and burn it, either in your car or in your generator. But in gold, you don't burn it. What you actually do is store your wealth in a solid mineral that is very, very safe and actually keeps the parity of purchase. So we joke with the minister whenever we see him that this is the only company that is allowing every Nigerian to own gold or solid mineral or national asset without any risk on the side of the investor. Why? The gold you buy is physical gold, is deliverable gold, and is gold that actually belongs to you because it's allocated to you. What this does, of course, is that it assures you at all times that if you bought 1 ounce of gold and say it's 1,800, if its value has gone to 2,000, 2020, we think it will get to 2,400 this year. You would have on your books 1 ounce worth 2,400. If the exchange rate was 1,000 to 1 when you bought it, and the exchange rate went to 1,500, again, you will have in your hand 2,000 times 1,500, rather than just 2,000 times 1,000, which is a question of 2 million compared to 3 million. Again, we would continue to encourage you that gold is a unique opportunity for every Nigerian to invest in national assets. And by doing it, you are not just investing with Dukia Gold, you are also investing with the mining community. And we are on a trickle-down basis. Every penny you give us, there's an all-in sustaining cost of mining gold, which again goes to the mining community. That's what we're trying to do, ensure that everybody can have what is called shared mining prosperity. And that's what we bring to table through our company. Again, we encourage you to invest in gold. Our vision and mission is clear. We want to be the gold standard for Africa. We're already the gold standard for Nigeria. And we want to thank you all for propelling our dream and vision and for supporting us as we go forward. I will continue to encourage everybody. The aim is to get every Nigerian to own at least 1 gram of gold. And if 200 million people can own 1 gram of gold, then we'll all have 223 million grams of gold. If everybody can increase that to 1 kilogram, it will definitely change the way in which the Naira is valued and in which the velocity of cash is transmitted and the storage of cash again is done. We would again encourage you to buy gold because it's safer than parking your money in dollar. It's safer than parking your money in Naira. And we continue to encourage you to do so. Very quickly, I will tell you how to buy gold using Dukia Commerce platform. I'll talk to you about the difference between jewelry and numismatic. I'll talk to you about the summary of how to invest in gold and how to get started. We'll talk to you about the frequently asked questions and what you need to consider if you are still looking at what the risk factor due to age, what's the risk factor due to your position in life, and then we'll conclude. But the main reason why I'm here is to be able to actually talk to you about the global economy, which my colleague Paul has made a lot of allusion to also remind you of the Nigerian economy. Everybody knows it. Inflation is bad, interest rate is poor, and there's a rumor that they're going to increase it just to be able to fight even inflation. How you go from bad to worse and think that that is going to cure the situation is a question that we'll need all to discuss. I'll then talk to you largely about the importance of gold in the local and global economy. And I'll remind you that China buys gold. Every BRICS opportunity that exists for the Brazil, China, India in gold, they are taking it. So if central banks across the world is buying gold, why aren't you also buying gold? Again, we'll review the performance of gold between 2023 and now, and I'll again make some projections based on our own understanding of what would happen in 2024 and beyond. I can tell you that I'm biased. I will say to you, you must invest in gold in this year, and you must try and invest in gold beyond this season. If you do all of that, we would look at the monetary policy generally. Again, Nigeria is in transition. When they do their February meeting, we would know. The geopolitical issues of Nigeria is clear. We're in West Africa. We just lost 3 of our neighbors from ECOWAS. They are going to stand on their own. There is a big rumor that one day they will say to us, Nigerian aircrafts or Nigerian-bound aircrafts can't fly over their space. What would that do to the cost of tickets? What would that do to transportation by air? I don't know. They've also rumored about, we've kept this insurgency of the Maghreb in check. If we put off our leg from the pedal and we allow them to stroll into Sokoto and the rest of them, what will happen? Again, because we understand that there are material geopolitical issues also across the world with Ukraine, in Israel, in Saudi, in the Gulf of Guinea, and the Gulf, the Red Sea, and so on and so forth. We think the geopolitical issues will continue to spike, and as it spikes, it will continue to have an effect of gold. We believe that the fluctuation in the price of gold would be an upward movement, one, because of demand and supply. The second is that every time there's a geopolitical issue, the flight to safety, of course, is gold. And everybody is still rumoring that the American economy would land safely on its feet post a fairly scary period, or they think there may be stagflation, or in fact, that things may get worse because this is an election year for them, and therefore the monetary policy operators may not necessarily focus properly on the long term. And therefore, if that happens and the value of the dollar falls, I tell you, it's safer for you to be in gold rather than in a cash currency. We will quickly talk to you about the status quo of gold and silver. We will speak more to you about gold, given that we think that Nigerians should first learn the habit of investing in gold before they go to the habit of investing in other PGMs and silver, or going into the other derivatives. But like the MD said, the trading platform that we built is a trading platform that is good enough for gold, and would also be able to trade other precious minerals, and indeed will be available to trade all the other solid minerals that are available in Nigeria. So if you wish to invest, say, 10,000 naira, you can actually buy 10,000 naira worth of gold and keep. You can actually buy 10,000 naira worth of silver and keep. You can actually buy 10,000 naira worth of copper and keep. And we think that very soon you would also be able to buy 10,000 naira worth of lithium and keep. If the value of that lithium goes up, the value of the gold goes up, you will then be in a position, of course, to sell it. We will, like I've said to you, look at the status quo of gold relative to stocks. We think that gold has outperformed the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Again, I repeat, the average performance of gold in Nigeria last year was over 79%. Some actually reached 183%. One of our portfolio investors did that very easily. And we think it outperformed bonds. Again, given that the Euro bond for Nigeria, we know the interest rate, and the Nigerian bond, including the commercial paper, is still hovering between 14 and 20% at the max. Again, gold outperformed it. And for the many commodities that exist in Nigeria, especially for those who do agribusiness commodities, again, gold materially outperformed every one of them. And so therefore, we continue to believe that relative to stocks, bonds, and commodities, gold is a safer bet for you to put your money and for you to put your attention. Gold compared to stocks is very easy. I will show you graphs that actually says that whether you are talking about the local exchange, in spite of what one of the great economists of Nigeria has said, our stock exchange is suffering today from youthful exuberance, and we almost watch out for a bubble. If you're going to save yourself from a bubble, you must invest or diversify away from stocks by balancing your stocks holding with a bit of gold or as much of gold as you can honestly afford, even because if gold shares to move, then there's going to be major trouble. One, we think and we agree that there's a need to increase the interest rate to fight inflation. When interest rate goes up, of course, the only thing that needs to come down is the valuation of stocks. When, again, interest rate goes up, of course, the bond prices, again, will go up. However, if bond prices go up, whether you do a CP or you do a long-term bond, or even the government itself, what it means is that the cost of borrowing will go up. And therefore, if you look at your P&L, you would, of course, suffer some marginal loss of revenue. Therefore, again, gold, I think, would continue to compare with bonds better, and it will be a very handy investment to make at this time. Gold and other commodities, like I said, continue to impress us. Why? Most of the other commodities in the agribusiness space in Nigeria is all Naira denominated and related to Naira. But fortunately, gold continues to remain, yes, buyable and sellable in Naira, but is always referenced to an international currency. Don't forget, gold is the only cash that has no counterparty. Gold is better than a fiat currency because gold has a current value in every currency across the world. And because that value is known on a daily transparent basis, please remember when you are trying to say you want to diversify your portfolio, consider commodities, but consider gold ahead of most of the commodities. I will conclude when I make this presentation by also letting you see what we believe. While I'm making this presentation, I'm going to talk a lot about a particular report which is issued by a publication we really trust in. In fact, interestingly, it's called In Gold We Trust, and their December 2023 edition exists, and I would encourage every one of us who is here to try and download a copy and get to read properly. But in doing that, I'm going to try and see if I can summarize what they said. Like they say, the 2023-2024 will be a showdown year between the resilience of gold, the resilience of the dollar, and the resilience of the other commodity marketplace, including stocks. But again, everybody thinks that if there was a true fight between gold and the currency called dollar, or a fight between gold and the currency called euro or yen, or there was a true fight between the geopolitical and social development issues, it seems to me that everybody concludes that gold will win. Reason is simple. If Ukraine continues to spend $60 billion every quarter, basically trying to fend off USSR, The economy of the United States and Europe didn't budget for it, are not getting anything in return. And it's like a dad who keeps sending money to his cousin, basically just to keep that cousin in a good position. And that cousin hasn't left school, he hasn't started work, and has not shown any promise. One day soon, dad is going to be very broke. And if dad is broke, it's going to affect all the other cousins across the globe. So we think the Ukraine situation is going to abode very negatively for the United States. It's going to abode very negatively for Europe if that fight lasts more than the next 12 months, which we think it will. The Israeli war is not getting any better. It's going to compound. And if the Americans choose to bomb a bit more of Yemen and their neighbors, Iran, Iraq, we may have a complete blowout in an area where oil is produced. Of course, it makes sense that the price of oil will go up for Nigeria and for the rest of the oil producers. But what will also happen is that the cost of production per unit is also going to go up. Real one, Ibitoye, please mute your mic or let the administrator mute mic for you. Basically, if that works, what would then happen is that in eventually arriving at a showdown, we're going to have to look at the monetary policies, the geopolitical issues, and again, the gold price. Monetary policy is a set of actions available to a nation's central bank to achieve sustainable economic growth by adjusting the money supply. Again, in Nigeria, our money supply strategy has been suspicious over the last 12, 18 years. This government is attempting to rear it in. I don't know how they will succeed, given that the cash in circulation is only guesstimated and everybody now is panicked. Yesterday, there was a rumor that they were going to try to expropriate foreign currencies. And again, thanks to the government for coming out to say, no, that's not happening. But what we know is that there is a bit of suspicion now between the citizens who own the cash and the person who prints the cash. And if the two of them don't reach a very good balance on money supply, only two things will happen. Inflation will spike again. There'll be a runaway and a run on banks, and that does not abode well for all of us. So again, we watch out for February. In March, or as soon as they release the monetary policy, we'll be in a position at Dukia Gold to discuss that in some detail. But right now, we think that the monetary policy is suspect. We believe that that means that don't keep cash, keep it in gold, and don't actually keep cash at all, whether it's dollar or euro or whatever, because even they are suffering from a lot of uncertainties. The politics in America would compound very soon with Donald Trump and Biden, and they need to rear it in. Otherwise, everybody's going to do a flight to safety pending the time that the election actually takes place in November, and we know who's going to rule the American economy for a while. Again, don't forget, Germany is slowing down. The cost of fuel this year is going to be a major issue for them. And if that goes into the negative for the German economy, the largest economy in Europe will be in trouble. And I would like to see the monetary policy response of the European economy. Again, whatever happens in Europe and America matters to Nigeria. And because it truly matters to us, we would always be in the negative position to respond to the many complex issues that we would see. Again, my advice is consider gold seriously when you are looking at cash. Again, we measure this out of America, but we also measure this out of Nigeria. The American economy more because over the last 20, 30 years, we know what has happened. And in America, they've had maybe some interesting central bank governors equivalent, which will be Alan Greenspan, Ben, Janet, and Jerome. Each one, you can actually say what's the confidence level in the central bank government. We can also ask the same question between Soludo and our last governor and the present one. Honestly, every Nigerian can answer the question, how confident am I that this central bank governor is acting in the best interest of the Nigerian economy, is acting in the best interest of the average businessman, is acting in the best interest of my business, and is acting in the best interest of my retirement plan and benefits. Unfortunately, we know the results now. The last CBN governor did not act in the best interest of the nation, and that is beginning to show. He also did not act in the best interest of businesses, whatever that business is. And because he didn't act in the best interest of all of us, the effect on the economy is what this present administration is having to deal with. And because this present administration has to deal with it, they're going to have to deal with it in many forms of formats. The first negative form of format in which they need to deal with it is the fact that they've got to address monetary policy, they've got to affect inflation, they've got to address quite a lot of messy things that ordinarily ought to have been in a stable place. When that happens, again, we will need to watch out. When we speak to you in March, we should have your question and answer on how confident you are in the administration of the central bank governor, and hopefully that shows up in the so-called persons who keep our currency. They're called banks. In this what it is that, yes, each time it fails, there's a Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation that comes to our rescue. And basically, when they do come to our rescue, of course, we pay a bit of insurance, and then government also steps in to do what it needs to do. But we know that most of the banks that fail have pension fund, tuition, college, salaries, everybody's money is inside it. And because that money is inside it, we have material issues on our hand that we need to worry about. We don't think there will be bank failures in Nigeria, hopefully, but we think there will be material adjustments to the banking P&L and to the banking share capital. And we also believe that there will be material issues across the banking industry that needs to address once the fallout of the monetary policy becomes obvious to all of us. So we say to you, watch out for the banks, watch out for the many difficult, tight belt situation that the central bank is going to take us all through, especially the banks. And therefore, it will show up on their balance sheet. It may show up on their capitalization. It will show up on the valuation of the trading of their shares. And we say to you, hold on to your shares. Hold on to your shares. But when you hold on to your shares, try as much as possible to balance a bit of your portfolio out of the banking sector, put a bit of it in gold if you have a real sense of purpose, and try and also ask yourself which other investments would make sense going forward. Again, we're not predicting bank failures, but we know that the monetary policy will catch a bit of all of us flat-footed, and it will take a bit of time to readjust, especially since this government says they want to grow the economy and they want to increase the capability and capacity of the banks to do what is required to be able to grow and stabilize the economy. So I wish every bank well. I also wish all of us who keep our money in the bank well. But I also say to you, don't forget, the better place to put your money, in my opinion, is gold. And if you can, please do so generously. If you do that, you'll remember, like the Americans always remember, there was a big bank called SVP. That bank was extremely important to Nigeria. Virtually all of the startup ventures that we have in the fintech got a bit of money either from Signature Bank or SVP. When it failed, quite a few of the so-called startup venture in Nigeria, of course, got a bit of hit. Again, the last of it has not been had, and the last of it has not been known, because those fintechs will be reporting this year, and therefore will be seeing the effect of this on their balance sheet when they ever publish it. But if they do so, what it will do is that they would either report more money or less money. And would we also say, therefore, that the inflation is at its peak or at its ebb? We think that inflation has not been addressed in Nigeria. And just unfortunately, yesterday, some decisions was taken by a subnational to stop people from exporting agribusiness or agri-produce out of the subnational economy. That is dangerous because what that can do is if everybody stops shifting excess production to area where it's most needed, or excess production to the place where it can be financialized or converted into cash, then the economy would suffer a material degradation of unintended implication and consequences. And I would say it very simply, if 2 trillion naira worth of agribusiness left maybe 6 states from a particular section of the country and end up in Lagos, if the state governor prevented that business to take place, then trust me, the rate of inflation in Lagos, where that trade was taking place because there was a free flow of commodity from that place to Lagos, what will happen is the price of that commodity that will spike in Lagos. If it spikes in Lagos and the news of that spike transforms back to even the state where there's a glut, you'll be shocked that either there is also a spike in the price in those villages, or there will become what is called smuggling. And therefore, I pity the central bank governor. I pity the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. I pity the subnational governments. Inflation is going to be a major battle, especially if you are looking at the food basket. Unfortunately, the food basket is actually in excess of 30%, 40% in terms of real measure, but of course is measured against the nominal, the average, which is trending between 28 and 30%. So if inflation goes to 40%, to be able to have a real rate of interest rate needs to go above 40%. I don't see a country that will have interest rate for the lending or borrowing public at 41% that will make a success of its manufacturing business. So everybody should belt up. We are in for what they call a turbulent time. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to present facts as we see it. Inflation is going to get bad. And if it does get bad, listen to this. Even in America, they say full tank is 15K. That was in May. In June, full tank is 39K. In December, full tank of petrol is 56K. What it means is simple. If you are earning 30,000 naira in May 2023, you spend 50% of your salary just to buy a full tank of fuel. Whether you poured it into your car or you poured it into your generator, it didn't matter. As at 2023, if you are still earning 30,000, you needed to borrow 9,000 to be able to fill up the tank, to be able to run your car or perhaps run your generator. It's worse because in 2023 December, if you are still earning 30,000 naira, honestly, you needed to spend the entire 30,000 naira buying fuel, and you still needed to go and borrow just as much, 26,000 naira, just to be able to top up that tank. What this has done is that every Nigerian that is on the same salary, that is currently using the same car, that is currently consuming the same fuel in the same country with the same government in power, needs to sincerely ask himself, where will that little extra income of 26,000 naira come from? Especially now that we know that in January, February, March, April this year, that full tank may actually be like 75,000 naira, and that guy will still be on a salary of 30,000. So I don't think that we've solved this problem. I don't think it's a problem that the government will be able to solve easily. And if inflation continues to rear its ugly head, you need, as a Nigerian, to prepare to battle inflation. The only weapon that I see left is to invest in gold. And you can all read about why inflation and gold fight each other and why gold always wins when you invest, especially when inflation continues to rear its ugly head. All the facts that I've shown you and discussed completely continues to shout recession, and decline in the value of money for Nigerians. And therefore, I would only say, fear not, God is on our side, but also God doesn't come down usually. He sends good people. And when he sends good people, he also sends good equipment and good fighting things to use. Please reassess your portfolio, reassess the value of where you keep your money. My advice to you is try and put a lot of it in gold and wait and batten down, consume less, save more, invest better, invest smarter, consider gold as one of the critical investments that you need to have at this time, especially if you are preparing to send your child to school, or you are trying to do a marriage ceremony, or you are trying to do any important event. I remember just this time last year, we addressed the people who build houses, and it's obvious the best place to put money if you are trying to build a house is actually to put all of that money in gold. And if you then draw down on the gold to be able to pay for the housing components, you would end up a safer, saner place and a saner person if you do that. Again, we think recession may come, and I think it's coming already. The value of the cash that we have in our hand is going to be battered by two things: exchange rate, inflation, and the greater uncertainty that is pervading the place, especially with security, and we need to worry ourselves. We're going to see a lot of accumulation of gold as the fight between Ukraine and Russia continues. We're going to see a lot of geopolitical uncertainty between the United States of America, China, and Russia. And like Christine Lagarde, who's the president of the European Central Bank, already says, we'll continue to see gold as an alternate reserve asset. If the World Bank, the IMF, thinks that gold is an alternate reserve asset for countries, I think it doesn't make rocket science for me and you to know that the alternate reserve asset for our family should also be considered to be gold. The question is, where would you get gold that is safe to invest and is easy to convert back into cash when you need it? Talk to Dukia Gold, visit www.dukiagold.co or go to the trading platform, which is www.dukiapreciousmetals.co. Again, gold would continue to rise because we don't see how they're going to call back the strained relationship between China, Russia, and the US. It's going to get worse in the rhetorics of the election. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa would continue to throw their heart into the whole thing. The quantum of the economy that is trying to create an alternate cash is getting larger. 40% of the global GDP is beginning to say, why do we need to spend the dollar? So if you keep putting all your reserve asset in dollar as an individual, watch out. If there's something that is called a meltdown, you will suffer the consequences. Maybe what you should do is balance your cash portfolio, put your money in a cash that is not a fiat cash or currency, put it in gold. It will be a perfect hedge against most of that trouble. Again, don't forget, other people are joining the fray of the 40% BRICS. Once UAE tilts, Saudi Arabia tilts, Ethiopia tilts, Egypt tilts, and Nigeria goes into it, then technically we're where we are. We know now that gold will be what it ought to be. So we know already the world is broken now into two economic zones: the Empire of the Sea, or the Western Bloc, and the Empire of the Land. And don't forget, the Empire of the Sea is controlled by Rule Britannica and, of course, the might of the United States so-called fleet or armada, which is their very large power on the flotillas, whether they call them ship or they call them floating decks. They put aircrafts on it, they put armies on it. They're able to go anywhere and say, yes, we're in the neck of the woods, so this is it. But somebody else was clever, and it's called China. They have done what is called the Belt and Road Initiative. What they have therefore done is lay, and they continue to lay, a rail line that links everybody together. They started also in Africa. They've done most of East Africa. They are doing a bit of work in Nigeria, They are helping us with our rail system. When the rail system is connected, the empire of the sea will be controlled by, of course, Europe and America. But watch out, I think the empire of the land may be controlled by China. And if Russia is doing what it's doing in the Maghreb, they may also join them to control that. What that would do to how commodities are transported and how people move from one place to the other may become very interesting. And if that happens, the currencies that we used to think is a fiat currency may actually not be as strong as we think. Commodities will rule the day, and therefore people will settle their trade in gold and oil. It will be safer for you to be a part owner of gold because you are excluded from being a part owner of oil. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, the only person they've given that chance is Dangote. I hope and pray he will bring his company to the stock exchange to be bought and sold. But what we've done in Dukia Gold is that we have ensured that we're not trying to sell you the risk of the company. We're actually saying buy the product, which is gold itself, so that you can own gold in your right and own gold in your portfolio and be able to at least participate in the hedging program that the rest of the world is taking itself through. Like I said, the summary of the write-up in Gold We Trust brings us and shows us how informative and entertaining information about everything in the world is. We know today that gold value will remain stable. It's the fiat currency's purchasing power that may basically move. And if that moves, then of course we will have many good issues around the world regarding gold. We know, of course, that gold will peak eventually this year at about 2,400. We know that it moved from about 8,800, 8,900 last year to about 2,146 and rising. But we believe that it will go to an all-time high this year of 2,400. The direction, the trajectory is clear. We think it's going to continue. All of the geopolitical economic issues around the belt is also clear. We think it would also continue. And if you were to then say to yourself, how has gold performed everywhere in the last so many months and years? In the Western world, gold has outperformed every currency, whether it's Japanese yen, whether it's US dollar. It made an 11.6% return. On the Japanese yen, it's made about 26.1%. And if you then go to Africa or developing countries, like they say, without adjusting for what they call foreign exchange devaluation between official and not official, gold actually made a 97% return last year. And like we know, everyone who invested with us probably got in excess of 150, 183%, especially given the problem the Nigerian inflation and interest rate. We think it will repeat about 140 to 154% return this year. We think the value of the Naira would hover between 1,200 and 2,000 Naira, depending on how the monetary policy, the inflation fighting power of the central bank comes. But we pray that we can normalize or stabilize the Naira at 1,000 to 1,200. But if things fail, we think it can go as high as 2,000 Naira to the dollar, God forbid. But even if it does, if your money is early and properly invested in gold, because you are matched against the currency that is stable and a fiat currency at that, and you then have gold, which is a counterparty currency without a signatory to the counterparty risk, you may end up with a real rate of return in excess of 97% to 150%. That's our belief. Again, check these facts with a financial advisor, check these facts with an economist, but that's our understanding and prediction. We say that because we can repeat very clearly to you that if you had invested 100,000 Naira in an ounce of gold with us in 2023, it would have been worth over 197,000 Naira if you had just stayed with the official rate, which is a 97% increase. Interestingly, If you did that valuation, the black market rate, you would be about 280,000, which would of course be about 180, 183%. So we've seen people invest in gold now. We know what it looks like to get a return. Like the MD said, please, you can't invest in gold today and get 183. We are not a Yahoo Yahoo. We are a considered safe investment. You must talk to your investor. You must have your KYC. You must have the patience, and you must believe in the economy, and you must also believe in yourself, and you must trust God, but you must also trust that you are doing a long-term investment. If you do a long-term investment, we think generally over the last 5 years, those who invested have always benefited. And we also think that over the next 5 years, those who invest in gold would also continue to benefit. Again, quickly, what's the status quo of gold relative to equity, debt, and commodities? Gold would always be an asset which acts as an hedge against economic uncertainty. It will give you stability. Yes, it may have limited growth of dexterity, but when you compare it, especially when inflation exchange rate comes into play, it will always be better than stocks, which represent an ownership in a company that basically gives you a return based on the volatility of its P&L. And therefore, we think gold will continue to act as a diversification tool, while stocks would normally be driven by company performance. And given the many tales of woes that Nigerian economy is presenting, I don't see how most companies would outperform the economy of Nigeria. There are rumors today that based on the revaluation reserve of most of the companies in Ikeja, that they are beginning to declare what they call foreign exchange gains and losses that may actually wipe out their profit and loss on their trading gains and losses. If that happens, there will be no dividend, there will be carryover taxes, there will be carryover this, there will be carryover that, and therefore even the economic projection of the government of Nigeria may not necessarily be met. What do you do pending the time Nigeria gets itself back in the good books? Invest your money wisely, consume what you only need to consume, put as much away into investment. I tell you, for certain, I think you should invest in gold because even the capital appreciation that we're looking at and the kind of stocks that would give you capital appreciation this year may not be as attractive as you think. Therefore, please invest wisely because the tolerance for the market, given the huge propensity for fluctuation going forward, requires for you to talk to people who know better than us. But we also know this. The NGX has done well last year. While it did well last year and it did exceptionally well this year, in January alone, it had a 24% increase, which is not based on any known fundamental. I'm a chartered accountant, and therefore there was no third quarter information, there was no end of quarter information. So while the prices of those assets were moving, I was a bit worried. But we understand that the NGX will continue to outperform itself, given that, yes, there's a need to revalue most of the companies, especially given that the replacement cost of most of the assets of a Coca-Cola bottling company or a Dangote, of course, given the fact that he bought it at 200 naira to the dollar, now the dollar is 1,400, you ought to adjust. But I think we should be mindful of the fact that sunk costs are not relevant for decision making, incremental costs are. And therefore, if you are looking at the incremental costs, there's been no new investment in fixed assets by any of those companies that are currently getting overvalued. And therefore, when the market self-corrects for that kind of youthful exuberance, don't be caught on the wrong side of history. Manage your currency, manage your expectation, invest in a safe bet, put your money away in where you're sure it is. I'm also not advising you to buy an ETF. I'm not saying buy a gold ETF. I'm saying buy physical gold that is deliverable in your name, allocated in your name. If all that happens, then you can quickly say, okay, what about debt? Like I said, debt makes sense, it's bonds, especially if you can find a gilt-edged bond issued by the federal government or by a company that you're sure its balance sheet makes sense. However, we've seen that Ghana actually messed up on the bond market. Any country can therefore mess up on the bond market. We pray Nigeria never falls into that. Even when we had Brady bonds, we kept our interest paid, and therefore we are a very reasonably efficient company in keeping our so-called national integrity when it comes to bonds. But we think that the bond would reflect the final value of what the so-called monetary policy of the central bank comes out in February. And if the bond prices go up, of course, immediately the amount of cash that was available for stocks will go down. And if that goes down again, it's going to depress the stock exchange, or may depress stock exchange if all things work well. And what would then happen is that gold appeal will continue to shine through because it will help you preserve your wealth amid economic uncertainties, while bonds will continue to offer you income, but may face risks from changing interest rates. We beg you as an investor, try to diversify your portfolio by having a balanced strategy towards both fixed bonds and variable bonds, as well as stocks. Consider gold if you don't have it in your portfolio. There are other commodities apart from gold, and indeed the MD has said to you, there's a need for us to be able to offer you the opportunity to invest in any other commodity apart from gold. We're working on that, and by the special grace of God, before the end of this first quarter, next quarter, you'll be able to invest in virtually a fairly a more resilient portfolio of precious metals, from lithium to silver to gold, and so on and so forth. The joy also is that they are not investing in lithium that is manufactured or mined somewhere else. They're actually going to be manufacturing and investing in lithium that was done in Nigeria. Rather than you own a mine, what you'll be owning is the product of a mine, which again is stored for you, and you can always sell it off at the price that makes sense for you to buy or sell it, if you think that your portfolio requires for you to get liquidity. While some commodities like energy will continue to surge, don't forget that gold will continue to have a safe haven appeal and will remain relatively stable. Cobalt and other battery materials would continue to spike. Lithium will continue to look strong. Rare earth metals will continue to look strong. But again, if you have access to it, fantastic. If you don't feel bad, stay with gold. We think that that's a much relatively stable one. I say it again, we think gold would hit 2,400 in 2024. It's not because it's 2024, it's not because it's a leap year. It's just that the economic indices, including everything that is been looked at by us, by people who know better than us, including the performance of the world economy, continues to say to us, this is in the direction in which it's going. Again, go on the internet, check the projected value of gold. We think that all things being equal, it will continue to outperform its prior past, and it will, of course, continue to project in the right direction. There are people who think one day soon, inflation would come from 28% to less than 20% in Nigeria. I pray so. There are people who think that foreign exchange will come from 1,460 to less than 1,000. I pray so. There are people who think interest rate will come to single digit. While we are all praying for that, what I think common sense economics accounting says is interest rate will rise, foreign exchange will get worse, inflation will get worse, but hopefully there will be enough monetary, enough fiscal policy to tame it. We think that correct, inflation may abate to 20-21% by the end of the year, all things being equal, but we think it's near impossible. We think foreign exchange would need to be better managed. Again, if everybody invests in gold rather than in foreign currency called dollar, then we can manage the foreign exchange better. And therefore, we hope that we can assist the federal government of Nigeria by selling more gold to Nigerians to park their cash rather than having cash packed in gold, rather than having cash packed in gold and cash packed in dollar. We think that the better place to pack your cash is in gold that can be easily traded, so that nobody keeps locking gold in an earring or in a bangle, but you can actually financialize your gold by basically trading in investment grade gold that makes sense. We think the interest rate would need to go up to tame inflation, and how to then bring it back down would be very interesting, because until inflation comes back to single digits, we don't see interest rate also coming down to a single digit. So it's a catch-22, and I pray that Nigeria truly gets out of it. The MD has shown you what we are basically exporting. Everything we export is only gold, that is not here. And we don't think that Nigeria needs to export gold. We think Nigeria really needs to invest in its own gold, such that there is less outflow of dollar, there's less outflow of naira, but there's more people buying gold out of Nigeria and keeping it in the economy. And of course, ensuring that the so-called solid mineral becomes the venue where Nigeria can truly kickstart its economy and of course fight a victorious battle against inflation and of course recorrect everything that is there. We believe, like I've spoken to you about the local and global economy, and therefore we represent again Dukia Gold to you. Buy 1 kg if you have the money. If you don't have the money, just try and buy 1 gram. 1 gram is 1,000 of 1 kg. If you have more than money for 1 gram, try and buy 1 ounce. And if you can buy 1 ounce, then buy multiples of it. Gold would outperform all of us, we know that. We think that in 2024 and beyond, it will go beyond $2,400. So if you buy now at 2,000, you are going to look for about $400 increment, hopefully. And you believe that inflation stays the way it is. Therefore, we would say to you, gold is the answer. Because gold is the answer, we think that it's going to be essential to your portfolio. It's key to ensuring against financial downturns, to really help you over time. Everybody has done that because everybody who used to invest in jewelry is beginning to dump their jewelry to get into bullion and gold. And we encourage you also to do so. If you have jewelry, try and trade it in and buy a much more valuable asset, which is the investment grade gold. Some of it will continue to be in coins and metals, which is numismatic. A lot of it will continue to stay in your mobile phones and your computers, while other uses, of course, would exist. But if you do it, everything will go well. I've talked to you about the pros and cons of stocks, mutual funds, bonds, basic account. I've shown you that the return of gold over fixed deposit return is a lot better. Therefore, there's no point in doing it again. Just to draw it in, most of what I've spoken to extempore is being shown to you by way of graphs. Gold outperforms. Gold will continue to outperform. What does it do? It will help you balance your portfolio. It will help you fight against inflation. It will be a safe haven, and it will, of course, provide a safe storage for your private wealth. What will happen? Gold, we think, will hit an all-time high. We've said it again. Gold would outperform everybody. Everybody knows what we're doing. Everybody understands inflation. Everybody understands the time of safe haven. We'll remain flexible, transparent. Liquidity is guaranteed. Again, after all I've said, the question is, where do I buy gold? Please, we are not asking you to buy gold as jewelry. Reason is, jewelry always involves artistic presentation of gold. And the artist and the brand name of the artist or the brand name of the manufacturer could add a premium to what you're buying. The intrinsic value of gold is known because it's a weight, either in gram or kilogram or ounces. Whatever the weight, you can always say the gold is 22 karat, 24 karat, but to make it easy, we would say it's 99.99% pure or 99% pure or 75% pure. What you ought to hold in your hand today is a 99.99% pure gold, which is an investment grade gold that is properly secured within the gold value chain as approved by the LBMA and the WDC, and is a gold that you are sure was bought from an office of a Nigerian entity which is licensed by the ministry, and that entity must remain compliant with LBMA, WDC, AML, and SCUMO rules and regulation. And before you go ahead and part with your money, please ask and do your due diligence. If you do, and they are able to offer you an investment grade gold, please go ahead and buy. But of course, if you want to do a party, you want to do a wedding, don't talk to Dukia Gold, talk to your jeweler. But after you have consumed that jewelry for that occasion, be mindful of the fact that you have 18 karat gold on your hand, not 24 karat, and is also not easily traded if truth comes to move. But because we own a proper way of checking whether it's 18 karat or 14 karat, we are always willing and available to buy the gold content out of your jewelry and again help you reinvest it at your approval and at your instance into investment grade gold. We think gold remain the best and most trusted asset to buy, but please buy it only from the trusted gold bullion merchant that you know. I know that Dukia Gold is Nigeria's most trusted gold bullion merchant. And therefore, I can recommend for you at any time, buy gold from Dukia Gold. You'll be safe that you do. In doing that, we own 3 trading channels. We've simplified it. When we started, people wanted to buy gold physically from us. But after, we were able to convert our physical trading channel into what they call a digital trading channel. And that digital trading channel is very, very available today. We're very proud of it. Like I said, many months ago, needed to create a minimum working platform. We've done that. Everybody has used it consistently for the last 24 months, and we keep getting better at it. So go on our e-commerce platform, register, do your KYC. You'll then be able to buy gold from the comfort of your house. We also believe eventually that there are people who will need to buy multiples of 1 kg, 2 kg, 10 kg, 50 kg, 100 kg. And therefore, we are currently working with stock exchanges and especially the Securities and Exchange Commission to make sure that a self-regulated trading channel exists that allows you to also buy physical gold on a gold traded spot basis. And as soon as the arrangements with SEC is sorted out, I'm certain that those people will be able to go ahead and do what they need to do. But while that is sorted out, the e-commerce channel exists, it's being used, it's useful, and everyone who has been on it has been happy that they do have an account. And the question to ask yourself is, if you have a current account for Naira, you have a savings account for Naira, why don't you try to create a gold account for yourself today unfailingly? In creating a gold account for yourself, visit, like I said, www.dukiapreciousmetals.co, register your name, provide your KYC, create your account, and begin your purchase. We have examples of people who used to go and give money to an Alajo or Mesusu person. They have learned now that it's better to put 5,000 Naira away every day in gold and collect it at the end of 6 months, collect at the end of 1 year. It gives them a better appreciation. It helps them fight inflation. It also preserves the value of their currency. Buy your gold product, get your trade ownership, and get your outright ownership of the product. Store your product, store it safely with Brinks. And Brinks, as you know, is the premier name for gold storage all around the world. You'll be joining the Central Bank of China, HSBC, the main boys who also store their products there. Can your gold be delivered? Of course, yes, it's yours. All you have to do is get the logistics right, pay the import duty, and you can have it in your pocket or have it on your table or actually have it in your own safe. The price of gold is transparent, is not dictated by Dukia Gold, is not dictated by the central bank, it's actually dictated by the gold fixing committee that publish it for the whole world to see. So the question again is, where do you get your gold? Dukia gets his gold from a very reliable source, a provider that is trustworthy. We obey, understand, and adhere to all local and international standards. People have asked us before, so what happens if you are wound up? And we always say to them, no problem whatsoever. The gold that you own is in your name, is registered in your name. So even if it happens, all you have to do is walk up to the storage, show evidence of ownership, and therefore you would get your gold delivered to you. You have no risk or counterparty risk with us once you have bought your gold. We using best practices in terms of information technology. Again, yes, we have the best in class information technology platform. We continue to fight to make it resilient. And because we continue to fight to make it better every day, we are always very comfortable and happy with ourselves that yes, technology would improve, but would also improve our head of technology. We know that there are good boys and bad boys out there who call themselves hackers, and therefore we're also on top of that. and we work with everyone to ensure that the technology requirement, either on our side or on your side, means what is called the global best practice and is also customer friendly. Market volatility will continue to exist because the economy, the world, geopolitical space will continue to spike, and therefore watch out for the American election, watch out for the many slips and turns and statements from Donald Trump, watch out for the measured or not so measured response for Biden, watch out for the German economy, watch out for the tantrums out of Russia, watch out for what may happen in Ukraine, watch out for what will happen out of Israel, watch out for what will happen again, even in Europe. Watch out for what will happen between Mexico and the USA border and the implications for many things. If you do, we will still believe that owning gold is an essential part of a portfolio. It's an essential part of a protection strategy for a portfolio. It will provide you long-term diversification benefits. It has huge benefits as a key insurance policy against inflation. We've shown it, we know it, we can prove it. It has huge benefits against financial downturn. It has very, very huge benefits against uncertainties. And we think that you are best to own gold given the quantum of geopolitical tension that Nigeria will face, especially given the problems out of Mali, Niger, and of course, their brother Burkina Faso. Whatever happens, tighten your seatbelt, make sure that at least you have a portfolio of an asset that can allow you to safely wage war and fight inflation, and of course, safely go through these uncertain times. We believe, we recommend that with Dukia Gold, you can easily get started in your drive and move to own gold. Buy your gold, sell your gold, invest in your gold. It's been made easy. It will continue to be made easier. We are secure. We have a secure and convenient environment from where you can buy gold. You don't have to take the gold home. You keep it in brinks. We don't bring gold to the office. We don't bring gold to the house. We actually keep it in brinks. So whatever you are buying, whatever we are selling to you is already securely locked up and everybody is done. We've exposed ourselves to the Securities and Exchange Commission. We've exposed ourselves to AML's Kumu, so we know that we are representing you as a trustworthy provider of that service. Check whatever channel works best for you, but try as you can to get physical investment grade gold. I'm not talking to you about jewelry. Make sure that that gold can be traded physically or digitally or on an SRO. I would recommend to you take a digital way to deal with any asset, the same way you don't carry cash around. Just open a gold wallet and make sure that that gold wallet is funded and is kept. And watch out before the end of this year also, we believe we'll be able to give you the Dukia Gold credit card that actually allows you to monetize your gold without necessarily having to worry about calling us to buy or sell. You can go ahead and spend it, and your business of easing the way in which you do business and the way in which you transact in gold will continue to get better. Dukia Gold is your go-to product provider for gold, investment grade gold in Nigeria. And therefore, we think that everything would get better, hopefully. But while they are trying to fix the Nigerian economy, while the world is also trying to fix the global economy, we will continue to face many uncertainties. We'll continue to face major economic policy issues. And therefore, I am hopeful that this first meeting with you has made a true case for you to consider owning gold. And that case is stronger, in our opinion, than we've ever made it before. Because when we said this in 2022, COVID was still there. When we said it in 2023, everybody said COVID was over. We're saying it now in 2024. Buy gold today. Buy gold today. Please buy investment grade gold today. If you decide you want to buy gold, you will have a safe haven. You will have the weight of history behind you. I believe that if you also choose to buy gold today, you will be avoiding certain risks, and you would hopefully be enhancing your return. And therefore, please consider adding gold as one of your investment portfolio assets. Of course, we're not saying buy only gold or invest in only gold. What we are saying and what we are pleading with you is ensure that gold is a major asset. Again, I want to thank all of you for the patience, for listening to us. I hope we've been able to add value at this session. I would say that I will leave the floor open for moderation by the MD on the question and answer session. Paul, thank you for your insight. Bose, I thank you very much for your insight also. I hope I've been able to add some value to everyone. Again, on behalf of all of us from Dukia Gold, we wish you a very safe and transparent trading year. And we hope and believe that we'll be able to see you as an investor and as a major contributor to the Nigerian economy because you own gold as part of your investment portfolio. Thank you all. Thank you very, very much for the patience in listening to us. Good afternoon, everyone. Over to you, Bose.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for your session. It's been very well delivered, and I must say that I've also learned a lot. Thank you so much, sir. And I hope that we've all learned one or two things. And it's a continuous learning process for all of us. And so we would continue to have this kind of sessions. But time is far spent. We would like to take a few questions. I would suggest that you raise up your hand or simply type the questions into the chat box, and we would have one of our team members respond to you. Let me see, are there questions now? I think some of the questions
have been asked and answered.
Have been asked and answered, yes.
Yeah, but I need to reemphasize the following. Gold that is worthy of investment must be gold that is easily convertible into cash. And therefore, please buy gold that is digitally available for reconversion into cash. And the reason is simple. For any man or woman who has ever gone to buy a gold bangle or gold earring, when you want to buy it, it's easy to part with your cash. But if you want to sell it, you must take that gold back to the seller or to the buyer physically. He will need to trust you that you have not gone to exchange the gold with some replica. And for them to be able to test it, they would need to either charge you a bit, and then there's, of course, the offer price and the selling price and vice versa. It takes a while for that to take place. Before, Nigerians used to travel to Dubai to go and exchange their gold in the gold souks. Since Emirates stopped flying here, it's been a major challenge for most people. Therefore, what we did is that we created a vaulting position for gold in Brinks in Switzerland, in Zurich. It's in a free trade zone out there. Because that gold is in Zurich, is in a safe and in a proper vault, we are in a position to sell it. And if you are in a position also to buy, we're in a position to sell it to you in Naira, right? We're a Nigerian company, we trade in Naira. But the joy of that trade is that because gold has an affinity for international valuation, call it dollar, call it euro, call it pound sterling, we have chosen, because everybody in Nigeria knows and thinks in dollar, to make sure that they can quote the price of gold to you in dollar and be able to manage and reflect it in the Naira situation. When you buy the gold, therefore, you are buying a fully allocated gold that is properly vaulted in a safe position with Brinks. If you choose to see the gold physically, you just need to complete what they call the delivery process by filling out your logistics delivery section of the transaction, and the delivery will take place to you directly by the so-called logistics company. Again, don't forget, we must maintain the chain of custody for gold so that it remains the kind of gold that you bought from us, investment grade gold. Be careful. If 1 kg of gold leaves a vault called Brinks and comes to your house, and you unfortunately put it in a vault in your bedroom, on the day you want to sell it, because it has left the chain of custody, you must bring it back again for it to be re-evaluated, for it to be able to go back in the chain of custody. 99% of the time, like every good car that has left the showroom, it's going to come back as secondhand, even though you've never done any other thing apart from look at it. So we encourage investors to buy gold on an e-commerce platform, and we've shown you the e-commerce platform works. Is www.dukiapreciousmetals.co. I would ask that that site be called up so that everybody can see what it looks like. And please ensure that you buy your gold safely, you store it in that vault, and you are then able to say, I need to sell 10 grams out of my 20 grams holding. It's easy peasy. It's the same way you will write a check or do a transfer or do anything with your cash if it was that you had a current or a savings account. Again, I beg you all, create a gold account, create a gold wallet, visit the e-commerce trading platform of Dukia today and do so. MD, let me yield the screen to you so that you can call up the www.dukiapreciousmetals so everybody sees what it looks like. And if Sam can quickly take everybody through in 1 second before we end this session today so that everybody can actually take care of themselves while they are at it. I yield the microphone, MD.
Thank you, sir. Sam, please call up the site and let me quickly go through some of the questions while you do that. I will look through the questions that haven't been answered. So we have comments. Richard, government is to encourage the solid mineral sector. That's true. Is Dukia registered? I think this has been addressed. We are registered with the CAC, and we are also pursuing the registration of our products also at the SEC. Okay, and Paul, thank you for the other insights on compliance, which is the we comply with the international regulations also. How can one invest in bullion physically delivered? So it's the same way. You will simply go on a platform. Thank you, Dr. Comfort. And I've put in the address. If you go there, the site address, and you do the registration and everything, but you can actually see what you get the offer, the price. You get it on the site. And if you want to you want it delivered, you also inform us. And we set up the process. You would secure or would arrange with you a third-party logistics company. We usually recommend one that is LBMA compliant. So we store with Brinks. Brinks also has a logistics arm. But if you choose not to use Brinks, you can also, you have that leeway. But the fact that we will tell you also is you will still be responsible for the cost of transportation, the delivery cost, including any tax that or customs duty that is accruable on it. And we mentioned customs duties because now in Nigeria, if you're bringing in investment grade gold, you are going to pay duties about 10%, and then you know there will be VAT and surcharge on it. So part of why this product has been designed this way is because if it's for investment purposes, do you really need to hold it, or you want to keep value and be able to access the value at the point that you need it? But if the choice is to have it in your possession, that's also it's a part of the product, so it's fully deliverable and you can get it at your profiled address. But all the additional costs will be borne by you. So, okay, so someone is asking, why do I need to pay import duty to get the gold delivered? That's um, a regulatory issue. Is the laws, part of the laws of the land. So if you go and check the customs tariff, you would find it there. So completely out of Dukia's hand. Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I just wanted to show us our trading platform, our e-commerce trading platform. So if you visit dukiapreciousmetals.co, you can see our landing page. And here we have some information which you can use to understand more about Dukia Gold. And this platform, you are able to buy gold and sell gold, as well as track your gold, like you'll be able to see your holdings. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can quickly see where you can see the performance of gold. We have different timestamps. You want to see it for 20 years. You can see that gold has always have this upward trend. And here, this place, we allow you to purchase gold from as little as 5,000 naira. So if you put the 5,000 naira, you should be able to see the equivalent in grams that you're going to get. So this is 0.035 grams. If you put your gram value here, you should be able to see the similar equivalent in naira at the top of the application. So this is actually our pool allocated gold. So we have two major offerings. We have the pool allocated, which is the managed gold product, and we have the deliverable gold product. This particular one, which I just showed you, is the pool allocated. So for the discrete, for this other one, the discrete gold bars, and we have 1 gram gold. You can see the rate today is around 140,000 naira. You can see an ounce is around 3.4 million naira. And if you scroll down, you can still see other products we have. So should you want to purchase any of these, all you have to do is just add to cart once you've created your account. At the bottom, we have the coins. I should open one of these for you so that we can also see the product itself, the description. Then you are free to also read more about us. Please note, if you scroll to the bottom, we have other sections of our website which you can check. We have our frequently asked questions, why invest in gold? You can check all this out for information to help you feel comfortable about your investment. So when we go to you can click any of the products and it will enable you to see more information about the particular products that you've clicked. And that is it. So when you want to create an account, all you have to do is click on login or get started, and you are taken to a page like this. So at this page, you can see that you can actually log in. and you can see you can actually register. So we have different account type. You can register as an individual, and the individual form will come up, which you will fill in your information, and you'll continue. So once you fill this form, you are going to get an email to verify your email verification link in your email. After you do that, when you come back to log in with the password you set during this process, you'll be prompted to input your KYC. We also have the section for joint accounts and corporate accounts. Once you click, you see all what you need to do. But just so that I don't take much of your time, let me quickly show you an example of how a typical dashboard would look like. So this is a logged in account, and we can see that here you should be able to see your transaction history for the, if it's discrete gold or pool allocated gold, you should be able to see what you have purchased right there. So let me just quickly run us through a process of buying gold. So let's see how we can do that. Okay, here I'm actually logging. As you can see by the top right, there is an initial of this current user, and this mark signifies that this person has KYC. This check mark by the right of the top right corner. And if should I want to buy discrete gold bar, all I have to do is simply add to cart, and my product has been added to my cart, and I can go there to check out. So I can view my cart. You can see here that I added just one to my cart.
Sam, please
So,
could you
okay.
increase the volume?
All right, okay. So please take note that before you are able to make purchase, let me quickly show something. So usually your account, your credits would be 0 as a new registered user. So when you log into your dashboard, you will navigate to deposit withdraw, and you'll see deposits. So you open the deposit form. So you're going to see the instruction. Let's say I want to buy 140,000 naira gold. I can put 145 or 142,000 naira. Let's remember that the price is volatile. It changes live on the platform. So here you can see the payment instruction that I should use my banking app. Please note, the account you have to use to send this money is the account that you use during your KYC process that you profiled with us. So you can indicate the amount that you want to transfer, that you have transferred from your bank. So if I've transferred 40,000, for example, or 400,000, I put it there. If you have a receipt, you can click I have a receipt and select the receipt file, after which you can click on I have made the transfer. Upon doing this, we'll review it, and once it reflects on our bank as well as here, we are going to credit your account. And once your account is credited, you're going to see the value here in Naira, and this is your credit. This is like your credit, which you're going to use to purchase your gold holdings. So this is my card, and this account is already funded. So, and all I have to do is, if you notice, storage. For now, if you want delivery, you have to contact us. So by default, you are buying this storage gold, and you can proceed to checking out once you're done with your purchase. And here you can see that the order has been confirmed, and you actually get an email. As you can take note, the payment method here is credit, and you have the timestamp when you made this order, this purchase, and the value. This is how to buy discrete gold. So let me quickly show us how to buy the pool allocated gold. But also take notes. of the transactions here. It's going to reflect here once you are done and you refresh the page or you log into your dashboard again. So in this case, let me purchase just a 7,000 naira worth of gold. And let's see. So this is if you want to buy the pool allocated gold. I can impute 7,000 here, and I'm saying I'm going to get this 0.0487 grams. And all I have to do is click my buy now button. And this is going to be confirmed. I have actually made this purchase. See the timestamp 221, and this is the gram that has been assigned, that has been credited to my gold holdings account to add to what I have. Then the next thing you want to do is from here, you can always go to your dashboard to go and confirm what you have. So thank you very much. If there's any question, you can answer.
Thank you, Sam. And Paul, I know you've answered a number of the questions. Is there any that you need to speak about?
I mean, actually, I was just writing an answer to somebody to Nadu about a comparison to cryptocurrency would be useful. Nadu, I think there are very many cryptocurrencies available on a variety of exchanges. So it's very difficult to make an overall comparison to a cryptocurrency, but I mean, certainly you know, it could be looked at. You could look at one of the cryptos such as Bitcoin. Now, my thing with things such as Bitcoin, when compared to gold, is the extreme volatility that occurs within the cryptocurrency market, and also there are, I believe, and we've seen this too, you know, very many outside influences on the price of cryptocurrencies. Something like gold, which is traded internationally and has, you know, high daily traded volumes, is going to be a far more stable commodity, or you can call gold a currency to actually trade in. I hope that explains that to you, Nadu. There was another one here about Dr. Asokoro Comfort. It's a bit confusing for some of us as novice. Are you saying you will not have the commodity in your hands physically, but paperwork? Yes, that's exactly how we undertake a gold transaction. The gold is actually physically held in vaults in Zurich, and you will have receipts to note that this is your holding. The holdings will be or are regularly audited, and bar lists are available to us from Brinks that will back up the amount of gold that is being held by Brinks for our customers. So, as Mr. Fegbemi mentioned earlier, in the event of there being an issue, if Dukia Gold, heaven forbid, actually ceases trading, it would make no difference to the security of your holding. That metal is not held on Dukia Gold's balance sheet, so you have no credit risk with Dukia Gold at all. I hope that one answers your question. I think I've probably covered off most of, or we have managed to cover most of the questions. If there's something outstanding, can you just put the question up again, and I'll try to give an explanation.
I can't see any new questions, so we'll assume that all questions have been answered. And you can also reach us on info@Dukia preciousmetals.co. And we'll be there to respond to you, and sales@dukiapreciousmetals.co. You can contact us at any of those addresses. Okay. So I think it's a time to say thank you to everyone for staying through, and we hope that you have gained one or two things. And for our existing customers, we thank you for your patronage, and for the new ones who are joining, we say welcome to the club. And we hope that your gold story will be a very pleasant one. And by December, when we have a session, we hope we'll have a lot of, or during the year, half-year review, we should be here to have a review, and hopefully you should have a sweet story to tell. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to further discussions and engagements with you. Please, okay, the contacts have been put in the chat box, and so you can reach us for further details. And the trading platform is www.dukiapreciousmetals.co. And we look forward to chatting with you and to your patronage. Thank you, everyone. Chairman,
Yeah.
do you have a final
just to
word for everyone?
say to everybody, we cannot but thank you. It's been a long day for everyone, but it's hopefully a rewarding day for us all. We will hold a session every month and give you insights into the economy, the way we see it as it relates to gold. And therefore, this is our commitment. Hopefully, on the first week of every month at 12 noon, as we have held it today, Tuesday. So basically, the first Tuesday of every month, please look out for the insightful understanding of Dukia Gold as it relates to the Nigerian economy and the global economy. We release a newsletter every Friday also of every week, summarizing what has happened during the week and predicting what we think would happen to gold and the Nigerian and the global economy in the coming week. We urge all of you to register and become a recipient of the Dukia newsletter. We also beg you to go on the Dukia page every day, because there is always a nugget or two for you to glimpse from our current understanding of the world economy and as it affects gold. Like we say, this year, there's going to be a showdown between the Naira and the dollar. There's going to be a showdown between the monetary policy and inflation. There's going to be a showdown between the bond market, the stock market, and gold. Let's all get ready to see and watch the showdown, but please be on the right side of history. Read up on gold if you have not read about gold before. Get the news about gold if you don't have any news on gold. Make sure that you become very current and conversant with how gold can help you fight inflation, how gold can work with you when there is uncertainty, and why gold is a valuable asset in your investment portfolio, especially in these uncertain times. Again, I continue to wish us all well, and I pray that this economy heals fast and returns us all into a period of certainty and prosperity. But while doing so, I wish everyone in Dukia well. I also wish all our customers well. We look forward to your continuous patronage, and more importantly, watch out for our other good news. We'll be doing a private placement this year on 2 of our SBUs, and we'll be making further and better announcements on our trading platform. We'll be increasing the quantum of products that you are able to buy and the type of products that you're going to buy. We would introduce silver definitely this year and PGMs, and we are hoping that we can introduce other metals as we go. We'll continue to work as a licensed seller of gold and precious metals in Nigeria. We'll continue to remain very, very compliant with the SCUMUL AML, and of course the licensing authority, which is the Ministry of Minerals. And we'll continue to look up to the direction of the federal government of Nigeria in making sure that every Nigerian is able to own gold, because you can't own oil, but at least, for crying out loud, if you've lost out on owning 1 barrel of oil, make sure that your family at least can have access to 1 kg of gold. If you do so, you would have increased the value of the wealth of your asset and of your children and children yet unborn. Gold, as you will know, is an asset that you will eventually use as a collateral, and it's an asset that can actually help you in many other circumstances apart from just keeping the store of value. Again, on behalf of all of us, I thank the Chief Executive, I thank also the Chief Operating Officer, and I thank all of the staff who made today possible. And we look forward to welcoming you at our next session, which will be the first week in March by the special grace of God. Once again, thank you, MD. I yield the microphone and I say bye-bye to everyone. Most grateful.
Thank you, sir. And I think it's time to say bye-bye to everyone. Thank you. And we look forward to engaging with you at future sessions and also, of course, to your patronage. Thank you very much. We appreciate you all. Bye-bye and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Bye.
Yeah. Thank you, Bose. Thank you, everybody. And enjoy the remainder of your afternoon. Thanks all.
Thank you.